Our goal from the very beginning has been to introduce a core set of training objectives and to build on those with each subsequent training module. That's why we've insisted that each training module be taken in sequential order. With Training Module 3, we hope to expand on what we've covered so far and include an examination of ways to control and manage issues in order to improve bargaining efficiency, and will strengthen interpersonal competency skills essential for successful bargaining.
Bargaining is often about how to use, about exchanging resources. Each party has something the other wants. Each party tries to get what it wants and to get as much as it can, while giving away or exchanging as little as it can. How that's done, how each party approaches the process, is a function of research, intuition, planning, skill, and strategy. It's the management and control of issues. There are two basic types of issues that generally find their way to the bargaining table: tangible issues and intangible issues. Tangible issues clearly outline what you want. Tangible issues have substance. They can be discussed, altered, debated, measured. Throughout this tape, we will be viewing short scenes that illustrate skills to be used at the bargaining table. Let's meet the two teams we'll be watching. One is chaired by Ilona, one by Ty.
Hi, Ilona. Joining me on the administration's bargaining team are my two colleagues, Barbara and Odessa.
Thank you, Ty. Let me introduce the other members of our association team: Wilford, Carlos, and Marie.
Now let's see how they discuss a tangible issue.
Now, we'd like to present our salary proposal at this time. As you can see, we're proposing that each step of the existing salary schedule be increased by 7%. We believe this is a reasonable increase based on the combined economic indicators of our region and city. Our employees are hardworking and certainly deserve to be paid a rate at least equal to the average of other school districts in the area. A 5% increase will keep us even with that average. The 7% increase that we are proposing would move the district into a more competitive salary range.
I understand your desire to have an increase applied to the existing salary schedule, but on behalf of management, I must say that the 7% figure is considerably higher than we have anticipated offering. Our calculations show that an increase of 7% would amount to a total increase of some $1.8 million in salary expenditures alone. As you know, salary is just one part of a total compensation package. To be fair, we must also take into account the cost of your fringe benefits. Well, let's look at health care. The cost of your family health care package, which the district pays all costs for, is more than $500 per month. When that and other benefits are combined with the existing salary schedule, our compensation package is already greater than the average of the surrounding districts.
We appreciate your concern about the cost of the proposal, and I'm sure that over the course of negotiations there will be ample time to see how our recommendation fits with our employee benefits and into the overall picture of available revenue. But we don't want to get distracted by the issue of health care at this point. Now let's start our discussion by focusing on the concept of application of a fixed percentage rate to the salary schedule.
Intangible issues are those issues that relate more to feelings such as honor, fear, anger, and to perceptions such as credibility and trust. They are harder to clearly articulate than tangible issues, and they often don't have clear solutions. While intangible issues are often ambiguous, they are no less real than tangible issues and have a great impact on the dynamics of what is accomplished at the table. Let's listen in on a team caucus discussion about the intangible issues that were present in the opening scene we just watched.
It seems to me that there was a whole lot more going on with Ty than just what his words were saying. I know salary and other employee benefits need to be taken as a package, but why was he getting so fired up about health care?
I agree. His behavior sure didn't fit the tone of the meeting. Somehow we pushed one of his hot buttons.
Now, I may be able to shed some light on this. I was on the team the last time we negotiated. We thought everything was going along fine and had reached some TAs on several items. We were ready to deal with the employee benefits when the state released a study that our employer-paid health care program was among the best in the state and clearly the top program in the area. The district came under a lot of pressure in the media that they were paying for a Cadillac health care program on top of a strong salary program.
That's right, I remember too. What wasn't understood by the public was that we've agreed to hold salary levels low for several years in order to maintain our health benefits.
Right. Seems that we need to deal with Ty's fear of a similar public backlash if rumors about our proposal start spreading. Now, it's in the administration's best interest to keep a solid health care program and other competitive salaries if they want to attract and retain the high quality of employees we currently have.
Here's an idea. Let's spend some time talking at the table, talking about what happened last time and how we can avoid a similar situation this time.
Intangible issues need to be acknowledged and compensated for. Unless you can recognize and deal with these intangible issues, they are likely to pose formidable barriers to successfully reaching agreement at the bargaining table. The reason for this is that tangible issues, the issues you most often put on the table, can usually be resolved in terms of the distribution of resources. Intangible issues, on the other hand, require more symbolic payoffs, such as those involving status and self-esteem. They are not divisible in the way tangible issues are. It is to everyone's advantage to deal with both the tangible and intangible issues. We're going to ask you to stop this tape for a few moments and spend some time talking with your on-site facilitator about the nuances of tangible and intangible issues. There are a number of ways, productive and non-productive, to deal with both tangible and intangible issues. Intangible issues will need to be diagnosed on an ongoing basis during the bargaining process and responded to accordingly. Tangible issues, like the nature of the issues themselves, lend themselves to specific, concrete methods of management. Order of presentation. Which issues do you present first? There are two schools of thought. One school says that all the important issues, the top priority issues, go first with those of lesser importance coming later. The downside to this approach is that the important issues are almost always the most contentious and difficult issues. If an inordinate amount of time is taken with these issues, you may cut down on the amount of time available to effectively bargain the lesser issues. The second school feels it is better to work on issues of lesser importance first. The theory is that by building success on these lesser issues early in the bargaining process, you can build cooperation and trust to more effectively tackle the tougher issues later on. But there's a potential downside here too. This approach could close out options for trade-offs later on. Now that we've introduced the concept of order of presentation, let's stop the tape for a few minutes and let you discuss this issue in more depth with your on-site facilitator. Fractionation. Fractionation is the breaking down of an issue into its smaller components, people, time, money, or smaller segments of a larger proposal. Although you may not be able to resolve the big issue by fractionating, you might find parts of the bigger issue you can resolve.
When we go back, we want to propose a new evaluation system that's designed for professional development versus the board's proposal of finding incompetency that will lead to firing. It sounds good to me, and exactly what we really need.
We're never going to get the board to agree to that.
Yeah, let's be realistic. Why don't we break our proposal into 4 sections and spend some time exploring each one with them? After we feel out the board side for a while, we might spend some time on getting an agreement on 1 or 2 of the sections.
I think you're right, Wilfred. We may not be able to get the whole idea agreed to, But making progress in one or two areas is better than getting nothing that will improve the evaluation system.
Premature agreement. Agreeing too fast limits the negotiator's flexibility for making trade-offs later.
We're ready to talk about the issue of professional development opportunities.
Professional development opportunities, we've already reached tentative agreement on tuition reimbursement, and that effectively used up all of the funds we had available to talk about educational experiences. We're just not in the position of being able to do more in this area.
But tuition reimbursement is only one component of good professional growth activities. What about being able to bring in outside consultants on special projects, or send some of our staff to a neighboring district to observe what they are doing?
But we've just settled on this issue. By settling on the tuition item, you signaled to us that your concerns in this area were being addressed. And I've already talked with some other board members about this tentative agreement. I can't very well go back to them with a different solution now. If we hadn't reached such a firm agreement, we might have been able to work something out.
Compromise. Compromise revolves around an individual item. It is giving up a little to get some of what you want.
Reaching an agreement on a personal leave policy is one of the highest priorities. It came out right behind salary and health care coverage on our pre-negotiations member survey.
Right. This is a pretty complex issue and has high stakes for both sides. Our proposal is obviously what we'd like to have, but I think it's unrealistic to expect to get everything we want this first time. We've proposed it. Even if we can't get everything we're asking for, having the concept implemented on a smaller scale is a major win for us.
I agree. We're asking for 4 days of personal leave for use at the employee's discretion. Now, management is having a hard time accepting this. I think a good beginning would be to accept a fewer number of days, and even some advance notification to the employer, except in an emergency, of course. Now, the one part I don't think we can move on is the confidentiality of the nature of the request. An employee should not have to explain what his leave is for.
Do we all agree? We can compromise on some of the specifics in order to get to an agreement on the concept. The one issue we can't compromise on is having to reveal why the leave is needed.
Coupling. Tie-ins, or coupling, is tying one issue to another unrelated issue for settlement.
We have a real concern about the safety of students on field trips. Our proposal is that we need at least 2 chaperones per bus to assist the driver. We currently have only 1. And the hourly rate should be raised from $10 per hour to $12 per hour.
Safety is also our concern, and we'd like to see all employees fairly compensated, but you know the fiscal constraints we're under. We just don't have the money.
Maybe we can solve these problems by dealing with them together. Now, we could live with, reluctantly I might add, the current $10 per hour wage, but we are adamant about having more adult supervision on these field trips.
Okay, we're able to stretch to cover 2 chaperones per bus, which you realize will double our expenditures in this area. But we've got to maintain the same hourly rate.
Log rolling. In log rolling, the parties agree to add new issues to issues that have already been tentatively agreed to.
So we've already agreed to course reimbursements, professional days, attendance at conferences and workshops, and in-service days. Let's add in the language on continuing education and wrap up this segment.
Yes, I don't see any reason that we can't roll this item into those that have already received tentative agreement.
Trade-offs. In trading off tangible issues, one party makes concessions on some issues in order to win concessions on other issues from the opposite party.
Let me lay it out one more time. We agree to cut our salary demands from 5% to 4%. And they agree to pick up any increases in health insurance without lowering any of the coverage. Are we all clear on that?
Will our members understand when they don't get the 5%?
I think most of our members see maintaining health coverage as the #1 issue.
The real question is this a fair trade? Is protecting health insurance coverage equal to 1% in increased salary? I think it is. I think we should go with it.
Then let me make sure we're all in the same place. Now, when we return to the table, we're going to agree to the proposal to drop our salary demand to 4% and to accept their guarantee on health coverage. That's the trade.
Clustering. Clustering is the formation of subsets. This can be especially effective when there are a large number of issues to be dealt with. Clustering allows bargaining to occur on several issues of a similar subset at the same time as a single proposal.
There are still a large number of issues left on the table. It makes sense to me to try to group these into related categories. Let's take sick leave, bereavement leave, and family leave and create one proposal to handle as one group. Likewise, maybe we can deal with the entire array of extracurricular activities as one segment or concern. As I see it, that would include athletics, bus duty, elementary activities, clubs.
We would agree to working with those two clusters if the union's willing to add emergency illness leave to the mix of leave proposals. If we can get these two major groups decided upon, we can move on to the remaining issues.
Well, I don't think we'd have any problem adding emergency illness leave to the list. Let's start with the leave provisions.
Differentiation. Issues are differentiated in terms of their importance or relatedness to one another. Differentiation among issues is likely to increase as the number of issues on the table increases.
I think it's clear that we have to set some priorities for today. We're getting down to the deadline, and I think we need to get some things out on the table right away.
What are you suggesting?
I'm suggesting we go back in and proceed through the issues in this order. We start with the salary, we move to health insurance, and then we tackle extracurricular duties.
Why are you suggesting those issues? What about increasing our proposal on disability insurance and some of those other issues?
I think we need to look at what is most important to our members. While more disability insurance and the other issues are important, salary, health care, and extracurricular duties are more important to our members.
Sounds reasonable to me. Let's see if Alona agrees. Alona, listen to Wilfred's idea for a minute.
Oh, I was just suggesting that.
Package deals. Package deals involve proposals to settle several related issues simultaneously.
I'd like to review where we are at this point. So far, we are near agreement on salary, health care, prep time, and duty-free lunch. While none of our proposals have been accepted, we do think we can agree to a few of yours.
Well, which ones do you feel you can accept?
We would like to make you a proposal that could wrap up all of these items this evening. Our proposal is this: your last proposal on transfer and personal leave, and our last proposals on health care, prep time, and duty-free lunch. Now, on salary, we move from a 6% increase on the salary schedule to a 5% increase. Both parties will drop all other proposals on language and salary.
Are you saying you will accept our transfer language?
What we are saying is this: we have an agreement if you accept the entire package as I just outlined.
Okay, I understand your offer. We will need to caucus to discuss your proposed settlement package.
In the management of issues, the objective for the negotiator is to keep options open for as long as possible, not to make premature commitments that limit the ability to remain flexible. The ability to do that will depend on the number of issues to be dealt with, their complexity, and the manner of their presentation. By creatively sizing or fractionating issues, coupling them to existing or new issues, forming subsets, package deals, or tie-ins, the likelihood of remaining flexible for keeping options open is enhanced.